All right, guys, welcome to today's Local Yokels Podcast. My name is Neil Colley. I'll be your host, and as usual, we're bringing all your nonprofits, charities, local business, trying to spotlight them, talk about their journeys, their purpose, and their impacts on our community. We are in DeSoto County, Mississippi. I want to remind everybody of that. There's always confusion, DeSoto County, Florida, Texas, but we're in Mississippi. So I want to give a little shout out to my sponsors today. I got RoofWorks Roofing Company. That's going to be roofworks at midsouth.com. We always want to make sure we let everybody know about what good people they are, especially right now. We're having a lot of storms. They're a great resource if you need patchwork, roof tarp, whatever during these storms. We're probably not finished. It's probably going to go on for another month, I'm guessing. But give them a call over there, 901-500-7235. And then a new sponsor we brought in a couple of weeks ago is Hamilton Lawn and Spray. That's going to be Scott over there at 662-420-6428. He's got great prices, great service on all of your lawn care needs, whether it be spraying, mowing, whatever you want to have him do. And, of course, I always want to mention my foundation that I work with, my nonprofit, Feed My Lambs, and you can reach them at minormemorial.org/lambs, 662-781-1333. If you just want to sponsor a child, get involved as a volunteer, whatever you want to do, we can always use your help because it's an amazing program. We'll talk a little bit more later. I'll talk to my guest about some of the things I got going on with that, but we're going to jump right into my guest today. We got Jim Lasopio in the house. Yay.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Thank you. And for everybody that don't know Jim is a local restaurateur. That's what I'd like to call you. Yeah. So, Jim, as we're going to talk today, we just had lunch at one of your great restaurants, and it was very, very good, by the way. Thank you for the lunch. Service was great as usual. At Junior's in Hernando, Mississippi.
Junior's Eating House.
Junior's Eating House. And that's a formal name?
That's the formal name.
Okay. I love the tractor out front, by the way. I always tell people, just look for the tractor. You'll see it.
It's my father-in-law's tractor.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, bought it brand new in 1951.
Good deal. Yeah. Well, as we know, Junior's used to be a Junior's before, but no affiliation.
Correct.
Yeah, this is all new. Just coincidentally, the name, your dad's a junior.
He is.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it was, a little confusion when people open, but place is really busy. Lots of good food. You want to talk about the restaurant a little bit and kind of how it came to be? Because you've been open about 6 months now.
Yeah.
Roughly.
About 6 months.
Yeah. And you've went from having just kind of like a lunchtime menu to now you're doing breakfast.
We've expanded to dinner.
Yeah.
We do dinner Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
Gotcha.
And then we're doing breakfast Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Oh, wow.
We're about a week away from opening up our drive-thru.
Nice. So drive-thru, I would say you just put your order in, kind of like.
Yeah, you're going to drive up to the back of the building.
Yeah.
You'll see a TV screen on the side of the building in a waterproof container, weatherproof container, kind of like you do when you walk in.
Yeah. And
it'll have the menu on it. Ordering will be a little different than what I would consider a standard drive-thru. Instead of having a PA system there, it tells you very clearly on your phone, call us. Mm-hmm. They'll answer the phone inside, and then when you're done, you pull forward 10 feet, and we'll run your food out to you.
Man, that is perfect.
Fast.
I'm lazy.
Very fast.
I'm lazy. So I think that would be a great option for me.
Yes.
So any people living in Hernando or DeSoto County wants to check something out, or even Memphis, man, it's a great little drive down to kind of experience the atmosphere down there. You guys got a daily menu.
We've got a daily menu.
Yeah.
I live in Eudora.
Yeah.
I've got a 55-acre property.
Yeah.
And we try to do, for example, honey. We source our own local honey.
Yeah.
We have
with our buddies over at
absolutely. I use them as well.
Yeah.
I do have hives on my property.
High Cotton Meats. They have. I think I don't know. It's probably back when you first opened. We went in, had a little bit of lunch with you, and I had Daniel with me.
Yep.
And he's the owner of High Cotton Meats, and they also have Hives to Home, I think is the name of their beehives. But we kind of did a little deal right there at lunch, about supplying some. And I know it takes time to build up to where you can get to the capacity of purchasing, what you need, but they got a great product. I know you have your own hives, and you try to use as much of that as you can too. But
we try to source local as much as we can. We use Red Banks rice.
Yep.
We do raise our own Berkshire hogs on our property. We'll take them to Home Place Pastures, have them slaughtered, and we'll serve that pork in the restaurants.
Yeah.
I love Home Place. It's a USDA inspected slaughterhouse. It's just an extra layer of security when you're in the restaurant business.
Sure.
So
helps protect you against bad things taking place.
Does.
So
it
yeah,
does.
and I know that that's hard to find with the government involved. There's a lot of oversight with that, even to deal with them and be that. I know that, like, if you have a processing plant of any kind, whether it be deer or whatever, I mean, to go that extra step where you can sell it to the public is difficult.
Very difficult.
Very difficult, because the government oversight's huge. I mean, they'll wear you out. And you have to upgrade your facilities nonstop. I mean, it's a lot of cost involved in that. Mm-hmm. So I applaud those guys for doing that, because they're one of the few around here that I know of that do that.
Yeah.
So, but I know you try to resource or source as much local product in your restaurant as you can. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we try to go the organic route. You know, my wife and I built our house 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Lots of forest, lots of pasture.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was I went to Lowe's and grabbed a container of Roundup.
Right.
And she looked at me and said, "Oh no, those chemicals aren't going on our land."
It's wild out there. I've been out there, so I know. That's how we met. To give a little history on how I know Jim was Mr. Daniel Kilsey, as I reach out again, of High Cotton Meats, Buena Vista Landscaping. Yep. That's kind of how I got to know him. He had been out there doing some stuff with you possibly, and he called and said, "Hey man, I got this guy. He's needing some work done. Give him a call," or you call me. I can't remember which one. And then I don't know what happened. We just kind of naturally become friendly and started talking a lot. And then I had a breakdown out there. I was down there for about a week, it seems like. And I had all my crew out there working on stuff, and we just kind of got to know each other little by little. And so we stay in contact a lot. And so beyond that, we just kind of talk. And so I can say this, from Jim's a real genuine guy. Like, he didn't know me from Adam. I'm just a blue collar guy. And then
so am I.
You're just treating me like, "Hey, can I help you work on it?" You know, like whatever. So we were out there doing all kinds of stuff. So I just kind of felt like he's my kind of fella. And then I find out that you actually own one of my favorite restaurants, Mesquite Chop House. And I don't want to, you know, I'm a steak. I love steak. So I always talk about that place, and you've had that for a while.
17 years it's been there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a staple in the community.
Yeah. Over there, kind of in that whole South Haven.
Yeah.
Not Silo, but it's close. It's in the Snowden.
Grove.
Yeah, Snowden. Yeah. So always a great treat if people enjoy that, which now in the last year you've also acquired the Butcher Block, which is
Block right next to it.
Right next door.
Yeah. So we've the company's gotten a little big.
Yeah.
And we've tried to take advantage of some economies of scale. Butcher Block became available. We were paying a lot of money to purchase hand-cut steaks through our grocer. And when it became available, John David Wheeler.
Yeah, let's shout out to John David, because I know him from, he built my house, my mom and dad's house. And so I hadn't seen him in a long time, but if you listen, John, I really, it's still there. It's still holding on. So, yeah, he did a good job. But he also, let's kind of give him a little shout out for the stuff he does beyond that, because he is a kind of like, what's the name of his outfit?
It's Operation Barbecue Relief.
Yeah. It's kind of a rescue program where there's a natural disaster. They show up and feed everybody.
They'll call Hormel, Swift, and get semi-trucks of ribs or pork butts donated. Tell him where he's going, and
he's got a whole team of people that travel with him. So that's something he started many years ago, and he still continues on with it. So thank you, John David, for doing all that hard work, because this is about nonprofits and charities. I would love to have him on my show sometime when we talk about all the good stuff, where they've been, what they do, and how much hard work it is to get it organized. So, but he's your partner in the Butcher Block.
He's partner in the Butcher Block. Yeah. You know, and I basically saw the availability and realized I could have hire a butcher for what I was paying my grocer to cut these steaks, and have a storefront as well.
Right.
It gave me more control of the steaks that were being cut. If I had an issue, I walk next door and talk to my butcher, versus calling and trying to get through layers of people before you finally get to the butcher and cut your steak.
It's in the same building.
It is. It's right next door.
Yeah, because they shut down briefly and nobody knew why.
Yep.
We kind of had like a lot of people was going over there. We're like, I don't know what happened. You know, I think they just kind of like one day decided that was it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if there was a plan or not, but you guys opened it back up pretty quickly.
Yeah. We had about 2 Decembers ago at Mesquite, we had a water main break. The sprinkler system broke.
I remember
during that deep freeze.
Did a whole remodel.
Oh gosh, it was 4 months, $600,000 in damage. And we kind of reinvented ourselves.
Right.
As far as a restaurant, focused on CAB.
What's CAB?
Certified Angus Beef. Sorry.
Okay, man, you got to tell the. Well, you know, here I'm saying I'm a steak guy, and I knew what that means, but I didn't know the acronyms. But that's a restaurant owner's way of acronyming things, I suppose. You know, what is your acronym for like a loaded baked potato?
fully loaded. I don't know if there is one for that. I don't know if there is one for all that.
It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
it is
so,
what it is. But the butcher shop, very shortly after we reopened, Mesquite became available. And it was just part of our rebranding.
Right.
I found that we could take advantage of some economies of scale.
Yeah.
Butchering our own meat was one of it.
Right.
One of them. Bakers. We used to have our own baker. We're in the process of trying to find our own baker again.
Right.
And then, like I said, just locally sourcing
everything.
As much as we can.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't do. Yeah. I mean, I know it costs a little bit more sometimes to source it locally, but I believe you get a better, fresher product, and it goes back into the economy, like the local economy. Like it's staying here. Like somehow you'll find out that the guys that you're getting the rice from, they're right next door to us down here, you know, and I'm sure they love the fact they had a local company wanting to buy their stuff instead of them shipping it out of state or out of country, you know, whatever. And that stays right here. Those guys' kids are going to school here. You know, they're going to, they're going to movies. They're doing whatever. But I mean, they're spending their money locally. Yeah. So, it's just somehow it all kind of comes back. I'm going to butcher the financial term for that, but I think it's called the Pilgrim's Principle. Okay. If that money stays local, it actually turns over 16 times. That's amazing. Economy. It's huge. That's amazing. Yeah. So I don't know that either. That's a pretty good term. I never heard that, but cool. Thank you for that. But I'm always about supporting your local businesses. I don't care if it costs me more. I'm going to go with the guy that I know. You know what I mean? That's how I look at things. So I feel like that you've done a good job since I've known you. You've acquired 3 major new things here. It's been huge. Yeah. It's been a huge year for me. So 4 new things, actually. Yeah. We got to talk about the Lucky Dog. Yeah. Lucky Dog. We've had Lucky Dog since April. Yeah. It's a year. It's right at a year. Yeah. I've got a great landlord, Brian Hill. That's Silo Square in South Haven, which is the up-and-coming, booming area. Yep. And that thing is hugely successful. I've heard all kinds of people talk about it because it's kind of like a dinner house for music live music. And it is. It's like a smaller version of Lafayette's. Okay. It's a music hall. Yeah. Going into the spring, we'll have music 7 nights a week. Right. It's all local music. Mm-hmm. Great food. Right now we're doing crawfish specials on Saturday and Sunday, live crawfish. Right. And it's got that open air, what I call a Texas ice house feel. Sure. When it's warm out, we open the garage doors, and there's just that in and out environment that's so welcoming and makes everybody want to be there. Sure. It's got a great atmosphere. Yeah. So I know our producer here, Derek Michaud of SRP Studios, who is a big-time music guy. He's actually got a podcast called The Rhythm Section. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. But he's been after me for months and months and months he knows my relationship with Jim. We had lunch with him probably right after you opened up Juniors. We came over because our studio used to be a little closer to your restaurant, but I'd always bring my guest over afterwards, and he came with us, and he's like, I got to get to know him. And I was like, well, dude, you know him now. Just call him, So I was like, I promise you he'll talk to you. So today he was really excited about you coming. Awesome. And we talked about the music stuff for a minute before we started the show, but so it's a huge thing. There's not a lot of music venues in the area. Right. This. So you knew there was a need for that. Definitely. Where there's somebody that's local that may be trying to showcase their talents. Now they can't be junk. They got to be pretty polished because y'all got some big names coming through there. Got huge names. We had New Year's Eve. We had Cowboy Troy, right? The Big and Rich label. Yep. And a lot of local talent that's trying to get on the Nashville scene, or not necessarily country either. I mean, it's all pretty much just. I'm sure you got a little bit of each thing like bluegrass, country, rock, blues, southern rock. Yes, sir. Probably a little bit of just everything, cover bands. Yes, sir. So just something for everybody. Right. Is there a menu they can go to online to where they can see what you got up and coming for artists? They can follow us on Facebook. Sure. And we have all of our menus up for every restaurant. And they'll talk about the rest. Talks about the entertainers as well. Yeah. And I don't know. I sent you one it's probably after it opened up last year. A friend of mine who's a traveling artist. I don't know if she ever reached out to you or not. She lives in Nashville, but I grew up with her in Alabama of all places. And she's been trying to get it going, and she's traveling too. She does good, but I told her to reach out to you. India Ramey, if anybody knows her. So she might pop up one day. I feel like we may have booked her. That name's familiar. Yeah? Okay. Good. So, but it's a growing business as well. You've done good with that. And then, of course, you've acquired Dale's. The old family restaurant in South Haven off of State Line Road. People will know that. because it has been around forever.
Forever. It's just celebrated 59 years 2 Thursdays ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So talk about how you're coming into the acquisition of that.
So it was on my radar. I saw that it was available very shortly after juniors. I realized that, again, there were probably some economies of scale that could go back and forth between the two places. And I reached out to a commercial broker who found a landlord for me.
Sure.
Somebody who bought into Dale's, realized it was for sale. The city of South Haven has been huge in this transition of the new owners coming in and doing everything they can to help us keep that landmark in South Haven. Darren.
Musselwhite. Mayor Musselwhite.
Yeah. A lot of Mayor and Musselwhite.
Okay, you got him a first name basis. I don't have him like that, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
He's been huge. You know, he's told me numerous times this needs to stay Dale's.
Sure.
And everybody, Whitney in the planning department, everybody, Tim with the fire department, they've all been very helpful.
Right, because it's an older facility.
It's an older facility, and that's the problem with that facility.
Sure.
Food is great.
Yeah.
Food is extremely consistent.
Sure.
When we took it over, you know, there were some concerns about cleanliness of the place in the past.
Right,
and if you haven't been by Dale's in a while, you need to go by.
Come check them out.
It's not Pepto Pink on the inside, on the outside anymore.
You changed it.
We've wrapped it in cypress.
Right.
It looks amazing. And
I don't know if I've driven by it lately to see that.
Yeah.
So I need to go by.
Yeah. And we're in the process of actually redoing the inside right now as well.
Cool. Well, I think it's been family owned all that time, right?
It has.
Yeah.
And you know, it meant a lot to me as an operator to go in there knowing all the passion Mr. Dale had put in there to kind of get it back up to what I felt like he would want it to be. Yeah.
Because they got older, man. They just couldn't do it no more.
Right.
You know, and the help was pretty much running the show.
Right.
You know,
so when we took it over, they were operating basically just Wednesday through Sunday with no Wednesday and Saturday night dinner business.
Right.
And my first Saturday there at 5 o'clock, I go to lock the door and I had half a dozen people trying to get in.
Right.
And I was like, well, we get open.
Yeah, we got to get open.
So I think within the next week, we had Wednesday and Saturday nights open.
Right.
And our next step is to get the Mondays and Tuesdays open.
Right.
And then, like I said, I've got a great landlord there. When I tell him, or he and I talk about Dale's and I think what Dale's could become. Yeah, but he's a great landlord. I mean, one of the things COVID taught me was how important a good landlord is to an operation.
Yeah, because like I know, in my business, like everybody thinks you need to own your properties. It's probably doesn't make the best sense when you're in a business like that initially, because, you know, it's just another huge responsibility for maintenance, all kinds of stuff. So you're almost better because, you know, it is a better, I mean, I know it's hard for people to understand that because you think you want to own everything, but not necessarily in the restaurant business, because if it bellies up for some reason out of the blue, you're stuck with a piece of property.
Yeah, I mean, I think the average shelf life of a restaurant is 10 years.
Yeah, and that one's 60.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good. You rolled the dice good one on that one. So
I think so.
I think if you can capitalize on the name and continue with a great product and service like I know you do, because you do that everywhere,
Thank you.
I think that thing will be hugely successful.
Our biggest change that we're going to do there, obviously, is I just explained to you, we're going to try to get Monday and Tuesday open.
Yeah.
And really, it's two big changes. We're going to add a drive-through out back.
Sure.
A large percentage of our carry-out
pickup window, if you will.
Well, it's going to actually be drive-through.
Okay, so you can pull up and order.
We've got carry-out.
Okay.
And the carry-out folks are the people that typically know what they want and want to pull up, walk inside, knowing it's ready so they can get in their car. And then I think we laughed about how drive-through people are just a little different.
I'm lazy.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm lazy. I love it.
You can say that. I can't. But give
Yeah.
those folks an option to just swing through. You don't have to get out of your car, and you can pick it up.
It's a drive-through world, man.
And COVID has changed that.
Yeah, they have.
But that's also a part of that business model that we haven't touched.
Sure.
And then breakfast.
That's a huge one.
That's going to
especially
be
over there.
Yeah.
Like there's one across the road from me. I can't remember the name of it. We used to call it the Smoke Shop. It's right across the road in a little stripping center. They're about the only ones doing breakfast. I don't even know if they're still open, to be honest with you. But that and like a Waffle House up the road or something. That's it. One of the biggest things that's lacking in the whole county, if you ask me, outside of like Olive Branch has a few places over on Old 78 to where you can go in and get a breakfast besides like a national branded restaurant. And I think we're missing that in our whole county. So for you to have two of them potentially open up within a year of each other, that's pretty amazing.
And it's not only the local breakfast operator. It's we're trying to source that locally and organic like we are with everything else.
With your hogs, your pork.
Local eggs.
Local eggs, local whatever. Yeah, so right now that could be a big business. And I know you got a lot of land down there. You haven't opened up no chicken houses yet, have you?
Oh, gosh,
You're working on it
no
probably.
Chickens, no chickens,
I can see you like going down there, you have like 30 chicken houses in a row trying to capitalize on this egg market.
Oh my gosh.
God, $8 a dozen, man, for work.
Crazy.
It is nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one of the craziest things about the egg market. White eggs were about twice as expensive as brown eggs.
And now it's just the opposite.
And now I think everything has fallen. It's just people have a visual idea that a brown egg is not I don't know if it's a clean.
Right. Well, you grew up with pasteurized eggs.
Correct.
Because it started in the 70s, I think, pretty much. And then I grew up with the white eggs. First time I seen a brown egg, I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd never seen one unless you were at a friend's chicken, like in their coop, and I was like, what kind of egg is that?
But they were half the price.
That's right.
15 dozen eggs a month ago cost us $140 for 15 dozen.
Yeah.
And those brown eggs were still $65 to $75 for the same 15 dozen.
Go to the store and try to buy those brown eggs, like at Kroger. Yeah. Those dudes are $8 because they call them organic or something.
Or grass-fed
something. They got free range. So got some kind of special name on it. So I would say that probably they're just taking complete advantage of us, like with the market. I don't give a damn what they say, to be honest with you, because it's just gouging folks.
Somebody told me the other day, it's crazy that same bird flu only attacked the egg-laying chickens and not the meat chickens.
I believe that.
Because the meat chickens weren't affected by it.
That's crazy.
Chicken prices never went up like the egg prices.
It's coming. It's coming. I don't care what you say, but so you've got that going on, and I know we'll glance over some of the other stuff you got going on real quick because I know you got some stuff going on in Memphis as well. Yeah. So let's talk about that because, guys, when I tell you he's got a lot going on, and he doesn't have area supervisors and stuff like that. This guy is managing his restaurants. Like he has general managers in them, and then you're the one.
And I recently changed that.
Yeah. We talked about you having some help, but you just never can get a guy that's just what you need, perfectly set up to kind of control the quality. Maybe that's what you've run into in the past. You're like, I got to fix this or I'm going to lose my quality, because. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the things you got going on in Memphis.
Yeah. Beale Street.
Beale Street.
Beale Street is kind of how we got our roots in the restaurant business.
Sure.
Rum Boogie is our flagship on Beale Street. It's been there since 1985. A lot of people call us the poor man's Hard Rock.
Okay.
You go in a Hard Rock cafe, everything that's autographed on the wall, they buy.
Sure.
We've got over 300 signed guitars, and those are by people who have come into Rum Boogie.
Yeah.
We've recognized them. They've either jumped on the stage and jammed with the band or they're a movie star.
Right.
And we've asked them to sign a guitar, and we hang it from the wall.
That's great. You going to talk about any of those good stories?
The good Rum Boogie stories?
Yeah.
Well,
how long has it been there, Jim?
Since 1985.
Yeah. How long have you owned it?
I've had ownership in it since about 2004.
So a lot, 20 years?
Yeah. And I've been gradually buying out some of those partners.
Oh, okay.
And then about 4 years ago, I bought out my business partner.
Oh, good. Yeah. So it's just you now?
Well, it's me with a couple other small people there.
Gotcha. So it's an employee-operated business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what makes it better sometimes because if they got stake in it, your general manager's got a little stake in it, whatever the case may be, it makes it. So any of you guys want to get up on Beale Street and check it out? Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So we've got Rum Boogie. We've got King's Palace, which is Cajun. And then we've got the Pig on Beale, which is barbecue. So
you got 3 restaurants on Beale? 3
on Beale Street, yes, sir.
Gotcha. Sir. One more time, run it down for everybody.
Well, actually, Rum Boogie, King's Palace, and the Pig. And then we've got a few satellite bars. Blues Hall.
Okay.
Beale Street Tap Room.
Yeah.
And then a really cool place you kind of got to know where it is the Absinthe Room. Yeah. It's on the 2nd floor. It's got pool tables. No live music, sofas everywhere. It's just a cool place to get away from the loud noise and the hustle and bustle of Beale Street.
Right.
And you can get up there, relax, play pool, and look down on the crowd.
Wow, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to make sure I take a tour of all these places because even though I know you well, I haven't been to all those. So
there's some history there.
Yeah, there is. I'd like to go check that out.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah, I'd like to go check that out. Maybe me and Derek one day will go up there or one evening. Go up there. I don't want, but it is. I mean, Beale Street's the happening place in Memphis, so you've took full advantage of trying to get in that door, and you've done well because there's a lot of restaurants and bars up through there for sure. But I'm sure one that's been there since the mid 80s has got to be doing something right.
Right.
So, I mean, I applaud you for that and then transitioning, a lot of people ask like, why all of a sudden interest in DeSoto County? Well, he lives here now. So 4 or 5 years ago, he built a house down here. Only I know the secret spot. I'm not going to tell where it's at. He does say Eudora, but Eudora is a pretty big area. So it's out by Hernando. Let's just say that. You got a nice spread. I've been there. It's amazing. Very wilderness oriented.
Yes.
Yeah. Cause I asked you one time, like, he's like, man, she won't let me. She loves it like this. Yeah. Cause I was like, man, those trees are like huge and they're over and it's beautiful, but like, you can see it can be cumbersome a little bit, like when you're trying to do some of the work you do. Oh, yeah. Like when you got your hogs, you got to go find them in the woods and stuff.
They're forest raised. A lot of people are like, what's different about your hogs? Well, we talk, organic food.
Sure.
We talked about how when we started the farmstead, we'll call it, my wife
that's
was
a good name for
no
it.
Roundup.
Yeah.
Well, she's made me take that approach every step along the way. I mean, our hogs, their feet never touch a concrete floor.
Right.
They're fed nothing but organic food. Their water comes either out of the lake or a well. Mm-hmm. No steroids or hormones in any of our animals. It's all natural. Yeah. We use our goats. I mentioned Roundup. We use our goats strictly to clear pastures.
They do a pretty good job too.
They do a great job.
I was over there one time I left. I was probably gone for about 3 months, like between the times I showed up. Because we got some pretty long projects you and I do, because you've got an amazing long driveway.
Yeah.
And
it's half a mile. Yeah.
Is it really just a half a mile? It seems like it's longer for some reason. But anyway, so the ongoing thing is we got this special material that we use and it's hard to come by. And we got to wait for it to sometimes come available. So it takes months for us to sometimes complete the thing. However, it gives me a chance in between visits to see what's changed. And it's usually the goats doing some serious work on the clearing. You know what I mean? They get in between those trees, man. There's nothing's got a chance with those things. So it's real clean and it allows a place. Then you move them, because I know you got fences where you move them to allow the other animals to move into. So your wife and you doing a lot of that. And of course your kid.
Oh yeah, both kids.
Yeah,
both
they're
kids
getting up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to give them a little shout out?
Yeah. Sutton, Iva.
Yeah. Sutton, Iva. And your wife. Let's mention her.
Hannah.
Yeah. Hannah.
She's the one that keeps me mentally fit. She's my psychiatric nurse practitioner wife.
Yeah, man. I'm going to have her on, because I would love to do a show about some mental health and stuff that's, man, we all deal with that. Like everybody's got some kind of issue. I always tell everybody needs something. Right. So we'll get with her at some point. And I know she's got to be a great person because she's married to you. Right. I know that. And I'm not going to downplay her role in this, but you're a good dude too. So,
thank you. She just opened her own clinic in Byhalia. It's Happy Mind Psychiatry.
Okay.
So she's finally got out on her own.
Oh, good.
Kind of been helping her realize, hey, what you're doing.
Sure.
You're living somebody else's dream.
That's right.
Start living your dream.
That's right. Yeah.
And she listened to me, and
she's doing great.
She's doing great.
Yeah. And I mean, that's probably a good place too. You were talking about that earlier about how a lot of probably trauma from the storms that's come through Holly Springs to, I mean, the whole area is just like the other night we were having, people were panicking. I mean, it was all over us, man. Like every part of this territory was covered with tornadoes. Yep. So that can be very stressful for a lot of people. I mean, I was stressed out, and I usually it don't even bother me. I'm just going to go to bed. Whatever happens. But that night, I was worried about my friends, and it was just over and over. It was kind of one of the craziest times I can remember. I mean, I had guys texting me at 2:00 in the morning, checking on me, and I was doing the same thing because we were all watching the same news, and we were seeing how from literally Strayhorn to Jackson, Tennessee, pretty much everything was just wide open all across the board. I mean, there was tornadoes dropping here, dropping there, and luckily we didn't have any more fatalities than we did.
Right.
It was a miracle. And now the rain was on set. It's just flooding. By the way, did your property survive the rain?
My lake is way up.
I bet it is, yeah.
It sounds like a waterfall, the overflow pipe.
Yeah, for sure.
My ducks are loving it.
Oh, I bet they are.
They are.
Yeah, but I mean, it saturated the whole area, and we still got more to come. Now, we're probably not going to see this for a few more weeks on this episode. So we're talking right now, we're in the first week of April. Right. So, this storm happened a couple of days ago. So we'll probably see this around maybe the 1st of May, on this episode, just so everybody knows. But however, it is probably going to be continuing up until that point in time, if not later. So it's just that time of year around here. It seems like it's a little worse this year.
It does.
For sure. But again, all the restaurants this guy's involved with, I don't know how he does it because he's only one guy. And I know that he doesn't have anybody else really other than his general managers.
I've got 2 people at my office.
Well, sure,
Actually, it's really 3. I've got a marketing person.
Yeah.
I've got an office manager who is she's got a small percentage in everything I do.
Sure.
She's been with me forever.
Yeah.
Extremely loyal.
Give him a shout out, man.
Olivia Potts.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Good deal. Thank you,
She's
Olivia.
been with me forever. And then I've got what I would call general bookkeeper, Teresa, that's worked for me for, I think she just celebrated a year.
Wow. Well, good for her. Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, I know you're not doing it on your own.
No.
Nobody could do that. You have to have somebody, but but I do know you deal with the majority of the running and going and hiring and firing, just from the standpoint of your upper management, allowing your general managers to do their jobs, but you try to stay with them every day on some capacity.
And you and I talked about it earlier today. Yeah. So you've got to be the face.
You do. You got to be.
It's the one thing that word of mouth is the best advertising. And if you can get out there, talk to your customers, make sure they're happy. And the folks that for whatever reason aren't happy, if you can fix it before they walk out, that's 3/4 of the battle.
Or just admit, hey, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
It happens. We're all human. Any restaurant, we were talking about that. I'm willing to give places other chances as long as they don't try to kill me while I'm there.
Right.
But I mean, just from, a service issue to maybe, of course, especially in a steakhouse, we're not talking about a cheap dinner.
Right.
So when it's not right, that needs to be corrected immediately.
Correct.
So, but these days, any restaurant so expensive, I mean, you would say, have you seen that? I know you try to work as much as you can towards keeping the prices down. We've talked about that with the juniors and things like that, but just, you can't avoid the cost.
You have to pass a little.
You have to pass it on. Yeah. So have you noticed more since you've opened juniors? Have you seen like it just getting worse and worse and worse? Like from
food pricing?
Yeah. Food cost.
You see some of it drop, like eggs have started to drop.
Right.
But again, when they were as high as they were.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of the reasons why we're really starting to make the breakfast push.
Sure.
It's because eggs were keeping us from going in that direction.
Right.
But yeah, I think prices have dropped a little bit. I think they'll continue to drop a little bit more.
Sure.
But they're higher than they've ever been. I think part of that problem is during COVID, a lot of those prices went up.
They don't want them coming down.
They don't want them coming down.
Right.
It's the
corporate
people that
greed.
control them.
And folks, there is corporate farming.
There really is.
There's corporate everything.
Really
and those
is.
guys are probably what's going to be the downfall of all of us if we don't get them in check.
Yep.
So, support your local people as much as you can, for sure. That's why I always talk about local, because Jim's not running franchises. These are actual restaurants. They're owner operated, got their own namesake. I know there's a couple of mesquite chop houses out there.
There's 2.
Yeah. And you're only involved with one, correct?
I'm involved with both.
Oh, are you?
I've got the one here in South Haven.
That's yours.
Yeah. And then I've got the one downtown. Now, the one downtown, we've changed up a little bit.
Okay.
Memphis is a crazy dynamic right now.
Sure.
We all know that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people going downtown.
Right.
I heard a statistic the other day, crime is down 25%.
Wow.
They're claiming in Memphis. Well, 25% fewer people are going downtown.
That's why it's less. Yeah.
It's
not because
somebody told me the other day,
Sure.
it's 25% less victims.
Sure.
If you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But so we've actually flipped that store and we're going to operate it as a ghost kitchen. If people aren't coming to us,
Right.
we're going to go to them.
Right. So more of like a Grubhub,
DoorDash,
that
Uber
kind of
Eats.
It's not really have an open sit-down restaurant.
Right.
You're just going to be prepping
strictly,
Yeah. Well, that's good in one way. It's hard to believe, though, it comes to that with a namesake like that place, because that's pretty well known in the area.
There were, I believe last year, there were 125 restaurants that shut down downtown.
Wow.
Sad.
Yeah, just because of the crime rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the impact goes deeper than just the initial victim. You're victimizing whole communities.
Oh, yeah.
When you do that, because you're taking away the things they enjoy, the places to be. And I know it's hurt the tourist industry a lot. You'd think they'd be motivated to fix a lot of that stuff, which I think they probably are. They just don't know how.
They're trying. It's just, it's a huge communicate. It's logistically, they don't have that dynamic. It's not even logistics, Lord. They don't understand how to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Sure.
You hear rumors that, for example, a parking lot 40 cars get broken into.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, it used to be 40 police reports and now it's 1.
Right.
I don't know if that's true. I know I had an experience the other night where one of my managers got punched in the face on Beale Street.
Wow.
We go to find the police. They were real hesitant about doing any type of police report. Manager calls me and said, I just got punched in the face and MPD's not doing anything about it.
Right.
I called up a lieutenant I know and I said, hey, I need some help here.
Sure.
And he said, Jim, it's on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken the guy to 201. We're processing him. I said, this is the problem. You're not communicating that to the victim.
Sure.
The victim thinks they're not being taken care of.
That's right.
So that's probably part of it.
Communication.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
What's your game plan?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know it's been a long time ago, probably 20 years ago. I was down there one night, man, and a bunch of kids showed up like after a prom or something. I don't know what happened, but it looked like the sea. Just a sea of people. Like, it was the busiest thing I've ever seen, but they weren't supposed to be there.
Right.
Like, that's not a young person's place without a parent. And man, I seen them coming with the horses, and they just walked down that whole road with about 15 horses. The cops. Yeah. They were all out. They cleaned that place out, and they wasn't looking for, they didn't care if you was innocent or not. They was just walking through that crowd. It scattered them. If they would be more like that, I'm not saying hurt people, folks. That's not what I'm saying, but we're trying to prove a point to you. We're not going to put up with any nonsense.
They had to get rid of the horses.
Yeah, because
they
of that,
don't allow
right?
the horses on Beale Street now because somebody felt like it was their constitutional right to be on Beale Street.
Oh, my
But that was a beautiful thing to see. Those horses turned sideways.
Oh, my gosh.
And they walked sideways down the street.
They just cleaned the whole street out.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't recall anybody getting hurt. It just forced, they just turned them. It was like just a barricade of how are you going to push against a 1,500-pound horse? You're just not going to. Yeah.
Well, it's trying to keep the people that are down there that are down there for the right reasons.
Sure.
Not loitering. You know, when you go down there.
Well, they were just in the streets, by the way. So we just stepped into the business we were going into, which I can't even remember where we were at the time.
Better have been one of my places.
It was.
Okay,
I know for sure it was. But I had the wife and I and the people we were with, we just stepped in our little place and looked out the window and watched them just pushing on out. And what it was, just a bunch of hanger-on,
they turned the street into a party.
Sure.
As a tenant down there, I pay for that security.
Yeah.
So at least you should come in and buy a drink for me. But you see glass flasks on the street the next morning. They bring their own party to the party. They don't patronize any of the businesses.
Sure.
And it's a pain.
Yeah.
And
well, I know they're trying to figure that out the best they can. They don't want to lose that dynamic because that's their biggest probably draw in the town is Beale Street.
Oh, it is.
And has to be safe. And it has been. I mean, it is most times. I think there's just some nights are different than others. Depends on what's going on downtown and the other stuff, like the basketball games or shows, concerts, whatever it might be going on. But it tends to be where there's a lot of people and activities. It draws an unruly crowd, comes to see what's going on and maybe how they can take advantage of it too. So I know the police are always working very hard to figure out how to stop it. It's not like, I don't think they're avoiding the problem. It's just how do you handle it?
Right.
Where you don't hurt innocent people.
Right.
Because the horses always thought, man, that's badass. Yeah. But there's probably somebody that's probably complaining about that right now.
There is.
But if you could see it in a working process, the way they just sweep the street with those things.
That's beautiful.
They're coordinated. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
The good thing one of the good things that Beale Street's got going for right now is the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies understand the importance of Beale Street.
Oh, yeah.
And they also want their patrons to feel safe. So I think there's a matter of fact, I know there's communication going on between the Grizzlies and the police and the city right now.
Yeah, and the Beale Street Commission.
To try to make that area feel.
Because, y'all are your own little...
Beale Street Merchants, we've got our own organization that kind of runs what I would call some of the festivals on the Beale Street. But we're managed, and our landlord is the Downtown Memphis Commission, which is where Paul Young was before he became mayor.
Yeah.
And it controls it basically collects the rent for the city on the city's behalf, and manages the day-to-day cleanup, some of the marketing of Beale Street.
Sure. So it's a whole industry right there.
It is.
It's really just its own business, the whole thing.
Is.
Even though they got these little individuals, but they're all part of the group, and it's important if all of you need to succeed. That's
Rising
the point.
Tide,
of it. Yeah. It's like a mall almost outdoor,
Yep, it really is.
It's just got a lot of restaurants and bars and things like that. So, but moving on from that, let's get back to your focus of why you're so big, because you moved down here in DeSoto County, of course. We
love
talked
DeSoto
about that.
County.
Yeah,
absolutely love DeSoto County.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of a change in Memphis.
Sure.
I got to meet a lot of people down here in DeSoto County, and I felt like it was a better fit for me.
Yeah. And Hernando being so close to where you live, it's like literally 10 minutes away.
Oh, yeah.
And so then you start thinking, this is a cool little town. I got to get involved with this. Juniors pops up.
We got involved with One Memphis Street, which is the wedding venue in town.
Sure.
I did a cater there for Thomas Tuggle, and the building owner was there.
By the way, it's the sheriff of DeSoto County.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the owner of the property reached out to me and said, "Hey, this is my venue. We're struggling with the dynamic of how to make this thing work."
Yeah.
I knew right away I could bring food to the table.
Sure.
And pieces of the puzzle that generate revenue that they couldn't.
Sure.
So now when you go to that venue, you have to buy food from one of my restaurants.
Right.
I'm a caterer.
So you're catering it.
So we're making it profitable.
Yeah.
And I did that for a while. And then prior to that, I had moved here.
Sure.
And I'd go out to eat in Hernando, and I'd have good experiences.
Sure.
I wouldn't have what I would call all the time stellar experiences.
Sure.
And I knew that this was a market I felt like I should be in.
Yeah.
And people mentioned, "Hey, we need a good meat and three."
Sure. I mean, it was already a successful setup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sat empty for a year or whatever it was.
I think a little longer than a year.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah. But so you did a good job with that.
We came in, we
revitalizing
redid the inside. I mean, it doesn't look anything like the old one. It almost has
new patio.
Yeah. Tractor up front, drive-through on its way.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Chip.
Right.
Johnson,
right.
Yeah, for the tractor.
God,
there was some pushback originally, and he's like, "Nah, just leave it."
He's a great mayor.
He said all the people, yeah, man, he's an awesome person. Him and his wife, Christy, both are just amazing people. Yeah. Personally as friends, because I don't live in Hernando.
Right.
But like I do a lot of business down here and my shows here, all the stuff that we do. But I mean, I'm just tied in with it. I don't know all the powers to be, but I've been friends with Chip for a long time outside of politics, just as a person. And I always thought very highly of him from that standpoint. Yeah. So, but then, he added Christy to his dynamic some years ago, and that just made it even better.
Oh, yeah.
She's an amazing person too. So he will fight for what's right.
Yes.
That's for sure true. I mean, we just seen that in an election. I mean, he didn't even have opposition because people realized they tried that one time, by the way, and it didn't go well for him. So they kind of went back helping, like, please come back, So he's doing the best he can with the crazy growth of Hernando, because it is just like, it's almost impossible to manage. I don't even know how he does it day to day. I mean, he's got a great board of aldermen, obviously, that help with that, but it's, I know it's not all him, but I think they all trust him enough to go that, all right, he sees the better good for the community when something's going on. So like when you were fighting that battle, you even said you went and got this special paint for the tractor because you were trying to make everybody happy.
I spent $1,500 in paint.
Yeah.
We're going to paint that tractor, put new decals.
Yeah.
And
he pulls up and goes, "Nah, just leave it. Everybody likes it."
Right.
So, he gave you the go ahead. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, real quickly, I'm going to get off of that subject for a minute. Just for a minute, I'm going to talk about Feed My Lambs, which is always important to me. We are building, Jim, a 67 C10 pickup truck, step side. Nice. We're having complete frame off restoration. Derek will post this up while we're talking about it. This is the mock-up that you'll see in the video. But we're going to do 100%. It's going to be Outlaw Intentions out of Strayhorns building it for us. Randy from Roof Works is helping me, obviously, with the build cost. Probably the high majority of it, to be quite frank. So I have a little bit involved. And of course, Ronnie's Hot Rods out of Senatobia is going to be doing all the paint work and making it look real slick. We're going to have just a lot of people going to be involved in building this thing. We're going to raffle it off for $100 per ticket donation. They're available now. So if you want to reach out and go to the Feed My Lambs website, which is, and all that stuff, or call me at my number, 662-404-2364. I'll take those. But we'll probably have a final product in June to where people can actually see it, and then we'll start mass media stuff with it, dragging it around the car shows and everything.
Park it in front of a restaurant.
Yeah, in front of Junior's maybe. Yeah. Or Dale's or
Lucky Dogs,
whatever. And matter of fact, they do have a car show up there, so we'll definitely do that. But it'll call the Feed My Lambs truck, and it's going to be really slick looking. It's going to be a great hot rod, resto mod, if you will. People will love it. But all the proceeds, every single penny, is going to the Feed My Lambs program for the weekend backpack program where we food insecurity. Yeah. So we give food in their backpacks, get them through the weekend. So it takes a lot of money, and I can't make but so many phone calls. So I thought, how do we add to our event this year? And that's kind of an idea Randy had. And I thought, shoot, let's do it. Let's find the right people. And we had some great partners come in place. Yeah. So thank you to all the people that's helping us with that. So now that was because you mentioned the tractor. The paint, because I thought of that. So, however, Chip said, just leave it like it is. So what'd you do with the paint?
Paint's in my dad's garage.
Yeah.
I'd already bought it, and so it's just sitting there. I think I even brought
By the way, your dad is kind of, he's up there working.
Yeah,
at the store.
Yeah, him and my mom both.
Yeah.
You know, if you were there the first couple months when I opened, you'd see my dad in the parking lot directing traffic.
Yeah.
He's the landlord, so he's really good at getting cars parked super close together.
Yeah, he wants all the ones in there.
Yeah. So they're my landlord there, and it's a little different having parents as landlords, you know. But I would still lump them in that category. So that's like I told you, I've got a handful of really, really good landlords.
Sure.
My Dale's landlord is phenomenal. Brian Hill, Lucky Dog's landlord, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, my parents, every single one of those landlords has a huge amount of buy-in to what I'm trying to do.
Sure. Well, they want you to succeed because if you don't, they don't.
Yeah. And you don't, it's hard to find in a landlord.
Sure.
A lot of times landlords just want to check.
Sure.
That's all they care about. But these guys all buy into what we're trying to do.
Especially your mom and dad. Come on, man. Like, they don't want little Jimmy to fail. You know? What do they call you, Jim?
Jim.
Nah, they got some kind of nickname.
No. They call me Jim. I'm
just messing with you.
This was their first indoctrination into the restaurant business. It was quite a learning experience.
They've seen it from a distance for 25 years with you, probably. Yeah. I'm assuming you've been in it that long, probably.
Yeah. And
they've just never, and I'm sure they've ate in every restaurant you got.
Yep.
And then, but they don't know the ins and outs of what they did, because when I first came in there, you just open and your dad's in there trying to help with everything.
Dad's directing traffic, busting ice. You know, I remember one Friday, we're slammed.
Yeah.
We're getting our butts kicked.
Yeah.
And my mom disappears.
Oh, wow.
I can't find my mom anywhere in the restaurant. It's 12:30, people looking for tables. I look over and my mother is sitting down at a table in the middle of lunch eating.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, Mom, what are you doing? You don't pay for your food. You don't get to just sit down and eat whenever you want. Get up. So
you had to handle that with kid gloves.
With kid gloves. I wanted to make sure I could still go over to her house and get dinner when I want. But golly, it was a little bit of a learning tool for her, for both of them.
I mean, I don't know what she did for a living, but I'm sure she had a time every day that she ate lunch.
Lunch is lunch. I don't care what time it is or where.
And when you're in the restaurant business, your lunch is either before lunch or after.
A lot of times you don't even get to sit down.
You don't even get to get it. Yeah, it's like eating on the run. I lived in that world for a little bit myself back in the day. Yeah, so I do. You just had to do it afterwards, you know. Yep. And so, I mean, I don't know how they are, man, but you should just let her eat. Just let her eat. Yeah. So, Mom, just clean the table up when you get done. Gosh. Yeah. But working with family can be challenging at times. You know, I've had some friends of mine from Spider Off-Road, the Bynums. They're all 4 of them are working there, 5 actually, if you include Clyde's wonderful friend, partner in life, Miss Crystal, and they work good. You know, it's hard. Me and Clyde were talking about, I had him on the show one time. He's like, it's definitely challenging from day to day.
It is.
Yeah. So, and they're still in a mindset of, there's Dad, Junior, and the third, and then there's Mama that really is the boss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nobody really knows that. She's in there making decisions for them.
Oh, yeah.
But they're out there yelling and hollering at each other and trying to get things done. So it is a dynamic. It takes special people to work together like that. I don't think I could ever work with my dad. I loved him to death. He was my best friend. But, man, we would cuss each other. I mean, we'd fight like dogs. We'd be going to lunch 10 minutes later together. But it was tough. Yeah. You know, I've got maybe 2 kids I could work with. There's one I just know, and I'm not going to say it on here. You just know who you are. To where I would probably put him in a chokehold. Yeah. So it is a him. It's 2 out of 3 of you. So there you go. Yeah, me and him would struggle together. So it's difficult. So I applaud that. Plus, just getting them involved in something new, and it was named
They're
after
older,
him.
and keeping them busy, keeping them active.
Yeah, and it's named goal. After him, right?
It is. He's James Jr.
Yeah, so it gives you something to give to him, hey, this is yours, man. I'm gonna do it on behalf of you, and all this stuff, and then they got some place to go every day. Do they live close by?
Yeah, they moved here. 2.5 years ago from Dallas.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And they have fallen in love with Hernando.
Man, who could not fall in love with Hernando or DeSoto County for that matter? I love the whole area. It's a little bit different on each parts, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. The closer you get to state line, obviously, the more population gets. And then Hernando's just far enough away. It obviously growing though, very rapidly, but not in the same way that the other places are. you can be in the real country in about 2 minutes out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you,
Where I live.
Yeah, where you live. So, and you're out away from everything. You got a great spot, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have to seek that out? Did you have to really look for a while?
So when my wife and I decided, so my wife is from the country.
Yeah.
And she decided when we met, she wanted to try city life.
Okay.
We lived in Harbortown.
Yeah. I love Harbortown.
Awesome area.
Yeah.
0 lot line house.
Yep.
The very good side of Harbortown, right when you came over the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
She tried it for 2 years and she realized this is just
I don't need those neighbors. Yeah.
I used to enjoy Harbortown. I used to be able to raise my window at night in the spring and fall. Mm-hmm. Feel the air coming in, listen to crickets and frogs. But now it's a lot of gunshots. You know, It's not in Harbortown. Yeah, it was across the bay, but it seems like everybody's got a handgun over there.
It's a rough area over there across the bay.
You can't sleep with your windows open at night. Mm-hmm. And so finally, right before COVID hit, she said, "You got to get me back to the country."
Sure.
We had found a house that we liked in Olive Branch that was already made. I'm sorry, was already there. Was already built. Had a little bit of land with it.
Mm-hmm. But just not enough.
It was for sale. Hadn't had an offer on the house in 2 years. The minute we put in an offer, we got outbid.
Oh, wow.
And she's, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I said, let's just keep looking. And we stumbled on this piece of property. Yeah. And my dad always tells me everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
Oh, he's right.
It's for sure. Like it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Yeah. There was no development on this land.
Yeah.
It's a
you're by yourself out there.
It's a blank canvas for us to do with what we want.
It's really nice. And it backs up to an area to where you don't really have any neighbors either. No. Everybody's got extra acres down there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking just a few acres, folks. It's like 80 plus acres.
Yeah.
And most all those developments down there are big acreage.
Correct.
So, when you get down there, you're like, where does he live? Like, is this a road?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all got y'all's that way by design. So I know that. But it's amazing, man. You're doing great things. I think that overall, the aspect of growth and getting involved in the community service side of things, you want to talk about some of the ways you give back out of your business.
So, we like doing events that are themed always with a nonprofit of some type.
Sure. Which, by the way, Feed My Lambs needs some themed help this year. so you know, Jim. Yeah.
Lucky Dog, for example.
Lucky Dog, for sure.
One of the challenges in the restaurant business is how to get people in on what I call typical non-restaurant nights. St. Patrick's Day, what do you do? Yeah. We've got Cinco de Mayo coming up. This Cinco de Mayo we're partnering with the Hernando Humane Society.
Probably.
Yeah. Dog shelter.
Yeah.
We're going to do margaritas and mutts where you can come in on a Sunday, adopt a pet.
Now, which restaurant are you going to be doing this with?
At Lucky Dog.
At Lucky Dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then margaritas and mutts, a large percentage of all the margaritas Sunday and Monday.
Sure.
Will go back to the shelter.
Awesome, man. They need that.
Yeah.
They just built a new animal shelter in Hernando. So I know that was a long time coming.
Yeah.
Horn Lake's building one too. Yep. As the areas populate, they need more. I mean, unfortunately, we don't take good care of our pets, some folks, or they get away from us and we can't find them. And, you need these facilities.
Yeah.
So,
I like giving back to what I call a lot of the human nonprofits, but the animals just have a place in my heart.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day at Lucky Dog, we partnered with Mississippi Wildlife Rehab.
Sure.
And we did a St. Patrick's Day run.
Yeah.
Where we charged a fee to run. We partnered with Donnie Chambliss. Mm-hmm. It was a great event, raised money for animal rehab, and
that's great.
Very successful.
Yeah. I mean, we all, I'm all for the downtrodden, the disenfranchised, but our pets matter too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the wildlife too. Conservation is very important.
Yeah.
Maintaining that and taking care of it.
Something special when you can be a voice for something that doesn't have a voice.
That's kind of why I started the podcast, because when we were talking about this earlier, I remember when I called and told you I was going to be doing one, you're like, how are you going to go from doing what you do? Which, by the way, folks, I drive a dump truck every day. That's what I do. I own a dump truck. I drive it for a living. And, he goes, how do you go from dump trucking, Neil, to podcasting?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to do it because I need to get the word out to more things. Like what I'm doing for the program I'm involved with, the Feed My Lambs, is really important to me. But through that, I met so many programs that needed help and awareness, just spotlighting them to where other people find out about it.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean just like what I was doing either. I'm talking like the House of Grace, all these different places, Miss Ann's Precious and Pink programs. I didn't even know they existed, until I got involved in this, Feed My Limbs thing. And then I was like, let me get them on. Let's talk about, so bringing awareness, because somebody might be looking for just that thing. You know what I mean? To get involved with it because it's dear to them. I was talking to your cashier down there today, and she's big into the House of Grace.
Yeah.
Hello, Stephanie. I told you to watch this. Yeah. So her and Miss Teresa was waiting on me up there. But by the way, the food was excellent. Thank you. But she's like, I have seen that podcast. You did one with the domestic violence group, and that was the House of Grace we're talking about. So just takes one person, and she said she gives to that shelter at times, like to help them. I don't know what capacity. Maybe it's clothes, food. I don't know. But however, there's some essential things that's important to everybody's mind. Yours is wildlife. You're big into conservation. I'm all about the children and feeding the kids and making sure they're protected and, domestic abuse things. That's really my big things. So everybody's got a different way they want to give back. Yep. And so that's why I got involved, is that way. So, you choose your path in life. Yep. I just stepped out there. That's all it was. I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, but I needed a bigger voice. Right. The show allows me to do that. So with your restaurants, you can make an impact beyond just serving food by, partnering up with these great programs and giving them some awareness, because people know about Lucky Dog. They may not know that the animal shelter needs some extra money right now, and some extra love. So they can come in and have a win-win with you, have a great night, celebrate the event. Correct. And also all the proceeds go towards the animal shelter.
Correct.
So thank you for doing that. Shout out to Hernando's Animal Shelter, so Humane Society or whatever you want to call it. Right. So I know Derek just did a podcast with some folks about where they work on trying to keep the pets fed, like through like a food bank almost, like for pets, so I don't know the name of them. I guess I have to go back and ask, but so there's somebody out there that's passionate about something. And so bringing them on here is what the awareness is. And we all kind of work there. There's a team of us here there's 3 of us do podcasts out of this place. And Coach Camp does Motivate with Coach Camp. He does a great job at it too. Derek does a great job with all of his podcasts. I just focus on my one, and we all do a little bit different way, in our focus and our goals too. So same thing with what you're doing, with your restaurants, tying them into events. Lucky Dog, obviously, super popular place right now. Silo Square is the boomingest part of DeSoto County, I would say.
It is.
Definitely. So do you see yourself opening anything else up over there?
Probably not in that area. I've got a couple people in Olive Branch who are blowing in my ear about some stuff and
just going.
Right. Hey, can you come out here? But
Olive Branch is booming too, and they're creating their own Silo Square over there. That's going to be a huge deal. So that's very amazing. I would think any parts of DeSoto County would be an opportunity to grow. Some are happening faster than others. Some have happened and needed some stuff for a while. Some things just blow up faster and you can even see it coming. Hernando was like that. Like it just exploded over the course of 10 years and nobody could even catch up. That's why it's so hard to manage the growth.
Well, and I think as where we sit as a county relative to where Memphis is.
Yeah.
For a lot of times, a lot of my employees are single moms.
Sure.
They want to feel safe.
Sure.
That state income tax has really been a barrier of entry into DeSoto County. Yeah. And now that it looks like that's over the course of the years.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of help here. I would say this all the time. Like, man, if you're looking for a freebie, don't come to Mississippi. Right. Because they do not help the low income.
Right. But I think getting rid of that state income tax, it's going to be over a course of a year. Sure. My understanding is it's a certain percentage every year. But that is eliminating a barrier of entry into DeSoto County. Yeah. So I really believe the population floodgates are
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Even more so than what it already has. Yeah, because a lot of people who work up there have great jobs, but they come down here to live because it's a safer place to live.
Absolutely.
And they're trying to escape some of the neighborhoods. It's a little quieter. Obviously, our sheriff and everybody do a great job. The city, the best they can at protecting the citizens, and it is a lot of work. I mean, I applaud all those chiefs for implicating. When they said they're going to protect, the governor even said, I'm going to send them the resources to protect those citizens. He wasn't joking. And I don't know how but I see them all the time. You know, I work up around that state line area all the way across every day.
Oh, yeah.
And I see those cops.
I see that in Eudora. You know, I go to exit.
Yeah.
And there's always a sheriff's deputy at the top of one of those overpasses.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then
by the way, they don't have radar, folks. So like, they're not trying to like catch you in a trap. They're literally trying to protect the community.
My 16-year-old son told me that.
Yeah.
He said, I slammed on the brakes. He's like, Dad, why are you slowing down?
Well, they'll still pull you over. They can tell when you're speeding, Jim.
Right.
So don't be like trying to cut up on them. Yeah. They do an excellent job at just trying to have a presence. Yeah. And that'll deter a lot. You know?
Well, and then it's also, you know, it's understanding where the root of the problem starts from.
Sure.
You and I talked today about Sheriff Thomas Tuggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the things he's doing in the schools. And you don't see that in Memphis. Mm-mm. You know?
Well, it's so big up there too, I think.
It is, but you know, Thomas is out there. You see him out there. Being active, getting involved in these kids' life at an early age.
Sure.
And that's a game changer.
Got to catch them early. And we was talking about it starts from nutrition. That's kind of what I end on that I'm involved with. I've got the Hope Center that I've had on. They're great people mentoring young people, trying to catch them early on. And a lot of time it's just what they talked about is like showing somebody cares, somebody's taking interest of you. You know, we don't know what people's home life is, and it's not always based on money. You know, like you could have the best paying jobs in the world and a great home, but just be a terrible parent overall, you know, and you don't have time to teach them or spend time with them. So having folks that step into their lives and mentor them, just saying, hey, I see you, you know what I mean? I care about you, all that stuff, you know, that's important. And I think that's what he does a lot of, you know, and it's really impactful coming from a man who, I mean, I would say it's probably the highest office in the county. For sure, you know, like the sheriff's position always is, you know, so I know that there's bigger, I mean, but it's probably the most high profile job anyway. So for him to take time out of his day to get into these schools is huge, you know, and I think he does a lot of that.
I mean, it's the nature of him as a person. I don't know if you saw the snowstorm. You know, there's pictures of him on Facebook stopping what he's doing and go sledding with the kids. Sure. You know, he gets it. Yeah,
he does. I'm actually going to have him on the show. They reached out to me earlier this week, so I'm excited about that. So that'll be coming. So when people see it's already happened, but it's kind of cool that he wanted to come on because I know he doesn't do a lot of that. So it just shows that he trusts that we're trying to get out good words and good things into the community. So, but you know, you, Jim, I know that going forward, as you grow into DeSoto County, your goal is obviously to get more involved with community, programs. You know, and I think that I love sports, man. You know what I mean? I do. But what I'm doing something it's not that I'm down like playing the sports and the need for sponsorships. I mean, I grew up with somebody's name on my hat, you know, when I was playing baseball or something, you know. But I didn't realize at the time, but there are some real important issues out there beyond that. Like sports are important, you know, but getting involved in things that matter in your community where you can really impact it from a real social level. You know, those are important things that I see. Do you see it similarly, or do you feel like that, you know, or, I mean, obviously you want to take care of folks. You talked about the wildlife, but getting involved in a group like the Hope Center, House of Grace, those things that seem like things like that, you know, as you get more and more going on in the county, you're going to try to focus more on that, try to find those places.
There's a couple other groups that I'm involved with, you know, above and beyond those. They're smaller charities. Medley Fest is one I do, and it's for a girl who was an Oxford student at Oxford, was put in a bad situation and unfortunately has passed away. And
sorry to hear that.
It's a festival to raise awareness about what happened to her.
Look, let me say real quick, I know that a lot of people that do give, I don't need you to come in here and talk about all the good stuff you do, but I find it important. The reason why I want you to tell me is because people are not aware of that. I've never heard of that. Maybe somebody wants to get involved in it. So the key is it's not bragging about what you're doing. It's saying what you're doing to spread the word about this is an important thing. Like maybe somebody sees it and they want to get involved. That's what I was trying to talk about.
And to me though, you know, to take that one step further, as a parent, you know, it's important for me to see, for my kids to see that side of me. To give back. I mean, because you can't pass something on like that without them seeing you do it. And I think that's in the long run, that changes things.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It generationally changes things.
Absolutely. And even from the people you help, because they see it coming from someone like, why are they doing that? You know, some people ask me, like, sometimes I get it hit on, you know, like, man, I mean, if you work that hard at your job, I'm like, but that ain't it. I can't take anything with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? All I can control is what's now. You're successful. You've done a great job. You continue to be successful. I think I'm successful in my own right. I think but what my key to, I don't have any ideas about being remembered, but for my kids and my family and my friends to see how I'm so trying to help others,
right?
With what I accumulate. Not saying you give your shirt off your back completely, but how can you give?
Yeah.
In what capacity?
It can be just time.
It can be a lot of times. Just volunteering time, showing like just somebody cares enough to get involved in your program. So that's why I say allude to what you're doing. I'm not asking you to brag. I know you're probably a little hesitant, like you didn't want to say all the stuff you're involved in, but I know you are. And that's why I'm asking you so that people know maybe I need to get involved in that too. With Jim, So beyond the medley program festival, what else you got going on?
Well, a lot of times we'll get involved with Palmer Home.
That's a big one.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big
me,
one here. Yeah,
because of who they are.
Yeah.
There's lots of places that are associated with adoption and placement of children, but they try to keep those family units together as much as they can. Mm-hmm. And we've done events with them in the past.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's for me. It's finding things that make sense to me.
That impact. And, I talked about to where it's going to the bottom line.
Right.
There's not a lot of administrative cost involved.
Right.
The big programs are super good. We know that. We need the St. Jude's. We need all that stuff. It's amazing programs. We love them. They do amazing stuff for people. But they are international, national stuff.
Right.
What I try to find is those grassroots programs here in our community to where we can impact them immediately.
Right. Well, you and I aren't raising millions of dollars.
No, not.
But the hundreds of dollars we raise
absolutely.
Can make the same impact on the
locally,
smaller.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that was the whole goal of the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I find people that's like yourself and others, like you always see like some kind of a full circle when I get in my conversation with them, like how they're giving back locally.
Yeah.
And then you like buying local, trying to keep it local, also goes in that same type of pattern, it's the same thing. And if we take care of our local people, like maybe it's this particular church. I don't go to that church. I'm not affiliated with it, but I know they're trying to do the right thing in the community.
Correct.
So I'm going to put my eggs in that basket, so to speak, because I know somehow to get back in the community. And with the one I do, I know there's not a penny going in anybody's pocket. It's all going straight to the kids' food program. It's all volunteers. It's very rare you find something that doesn't have some kind of administrative cost, which I know sometimes you have to, especially if somebody has to manage it.
Right.
Like there has to be some oversight, especially if you're dealing with human beings. You've got to have somebody involved. Mm-hmm. Like the House of Grace has to have someone in a leadership role. Right. But it's just finding that, getting involved. Don't be afraid. So part of the premise of this show is just like getting all those unknown places that you just don't know about. Get them out there, and maybe Jim finds out about them. Like mine, you didn't know about it until I told you about it. I didn't know what you were doing until you just told me about it. So like the listeners is hearing now.
And a lot of times you've got to be, you may hear about it, but you've got to have that reinforcement.
Yeah.
Obviously, we get a lot of groups approach us about
sports teams and
sports teams and different nonprofits for that matter that need help.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times it's all right. You've got to. What are you about?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you trying to do?
Yep.
And I recently had a group out of Memphis who's new to the Memphis market approach me about wanting to use one of my venues down here, and I'm like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, really not.
It really doesn't. And I'm trying to think to myself, how can I tell them no? I mean, they've got a great group, but I just don't think it's a good fit for here.
They probably just want a safe environment, probably.
Maybe.
That's probably what it was.
But ironically enough, a couple Sundays ago, I was standing out front of Junior's, and I'm trying to cross the road, and this car slams on its brakes. Mm. And I look over, and it was a friend of mine whose daughter was Medley.
Sure.
And I had done things with her in the past. Mm. And she's like, we're going to do the event again this year, but we just don't have the resources to do what we did. I said, I've got a wedding venue now.
Yeah.
You can use my venue.
Sure.
And so it's
that's nice.
Yeah. And it's, again, bringing things back in.
Absolutely.
That you've done in the past. And
I'm sure you're going to probably give it allow them to use it pretty cheaply.
Oh gosh,
if not free.
For free.
Absolutely. So those are the things I talk about, Jim, that's so important to us. Like we got to be taking care of our local folks.
Yeah. And again, they don't have the resources.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have a resource.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that you got tons of things you're involved with, and I applaud all that. Like, the whole idea is I try to get more people involved. And I find it's not that they don't want to. Sometimes they don't know how to, or they don't know the right place because they're afraid of it being a scam, or they don't know how to vet it. They don't have time. I know people say, I just give my money to the church. They'll find out. Well, most churches are good, but not all churches.
Right.
So, unless I'm not downplaying them because I'm involved with a really good one, and they know I'm not coming in there for service. I'm just not who I am. So, but they entrust me to help them.
Right.
And I trust what they're doing is the best thing, for the dollar. So they're amazing people at Minor Memorial Methodist in Walls, Mississippi. They do help a lot. They even help the public in different ways people don't even know about, man. It's amazing. So they definitely I always say they put their money where their mouth is for sure. And it's hard to find that. There's lots of them. Like we were talking today about the Brown Baptist group. That guy, you know him real well.
Keith,
Compel Church. There's lots of different ones. There's some amazing resources in DeSoto County. There really is.
Yep.
Yeah. But now if you're after some government assistance, don't come here because they don't exist. They just don't.
Right, they don't.
So like you were talking about, like, helping with housing and stuff. I mean, I think just in a last little while, Section 8 has become a thing to where they can actually do that. But like, not normally, food stamps, non-existent. You might get $40 a month,
Yeah.
What's that going to buy you?
Nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that's what's so crazy. And everybody goes, well, I'm telling you, there's not a state that wants it. They don't want you coming here. They don't, it's amazing how they look at it. But like, it's coming regardless of what they want. They've controlled the narrative for so long. And I get a little bit mad because you have to take care of the people that don't have.
Right.
Like we have a lot of haves here but we have a lot of have-nots, and we try to like just push them to the side like they don't matter, but they really do matter.
They do.
And I think that as a community, we could make it better for everybody. So especially at the early age group, like you're talking about, like from Tuggle's mentorship, catching them, the Hope Center catching them. It seems like that second, third grade is a real good place to catch them when they start developing their little minds.
But that's also a hard move for us to make and understand.
Yeah.
Because being able to influence them at 2 and 3, you're not going to see those results
for years. Yeah.
It's not that instant gratification of, hey, I'm helping somebody.
Right.
It's understanding it's a long-term investment.
Sure. I mean, it takes decades.
But it is the only investment that's going to fix that.
Well, that was the whole point of our schools, and then we got away from it. We were talking on the Hope Center a little bit about, I think you and I are pretty close in age.
Yeah.
How old are you, Jim?
55.
So you're a little bit older than me, but not much. Do you remember in the early 80s or the mid 80s when We Are the World came out? Yeah. Your whole damn class would be sitting there singing the song together. Like it was that kind of camaraderie. Yep. They'd say you're in the Dallas area, I'm guessing you grew up. They'd say the prayer, which I'm not a big church guy, but there was something to do with that announcement in the mornings. The principal didn't have to say nothing. As soon as he kicked on that song, it was like, I was telling people, it was like the Coca-Cola song, when everybody starts singing together. That's what it was with that song. I can remember being like 6th or 7th grade, and we were all just like singing along to it, like just naturally. The whole damn school singing the song. It's kind of weird. So, catching that together, being impactful, being seeing it down the road. The Hope Center, Stacy Dodd and Kenneth McKinney were talking about I asked them at the end of their conversation because I knew about this individual. He plays professional football now, but he started out in Horn Lake and he went through their program. They didn't know it at the time what he's going to turn into be. But I'm not going to mention all the names here, but he came back and gave them a huge gift for helping him, being a part of that, in the Hope Center. He got some money from State Farm or somebody. He couldn't even, he's like, I don't know what to do with it, but I know one place that can use it. You know what I mean? Nakobe Dean's his name. I'll just say it. But he plays for Philadelphia Eagles. But he played for Georgia. But he went to Horn Lake High School. Nice. And he's probably one of the biggest names to come out of here in a long time. But he's a true success story that came through their program, and that goes to show you where you can impact people. And they're a decade into it now. So they're starting to see some of these results and having some people step up and get involved. So like you're right. It takes years and years and years to see the results of your action. We don't get that instant gratification, but you do sometimes when you see the smile on their face, maybe how they're acting at home better, behavior at school's better just because somebody's taking an interest in them, outside of the home. It's not always the people at home, maybe the enablers or the ones that's not controlling them, single family dynamic, whatever. But those are important to me. And I know they are to you and others as well. So I hope that you continue success on all your business ventures. Is there a place like, we talk about the River City Management Group is what oversees all your restaurants.
That's a management company that just oversees the restaurants. Yeah, it's
that's your
basically our
office.
Small little office of 3 people.
I know, but it's doing a lot of stuff. And so, like, if people wanted to reach out to them for employment opportunities, do you just say go to the individual restaurant or reach out to River City Management
Well,
Group?
if you're a manager, a general manager, an assistant manager looking for a job, you can call us at River City Management. Our phone number is 901-525-3891.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking for more like a cook position, a server position, a host position, you can go directly to one of the stores.
Yeah, one of the restaurants actually, because they're homegrown. It's not franchise stuff. So you're going to talk to the general manager that day.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you're going to. I mean, they're not too big to not deal with you, especially if they're looking for service.
A lot of times if I'm in the restaurant, I'll sit down and talk to people.
Sure, you want the best help you can find. Yeah. And you want the best people you can get.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the whole idea behind it. So, I think we've talked about pretty much all your restaurants, especially the ones here in DeSoto County, which we really wanted to focus on today because I know you're really trying to grow those, and they're doing well. So we'll go back and remind people that Junior's Eating House,
right,
in Hernando. Yeah. The 3 meats, and the breakfast, and now the dinners.
And
on your breakfast, by the way,
drive-through in a week.
The drive-through's coming in a week.
Yeah.
Breakfast items, what do you got? Like, is it just the same type of setup?
Great. Well, no, it's breakfast food you can't really put on a hotline.
Right.
So it's made to order.
Sure.
You walk up to the register. We've got a menu board. You basically pick what you want. It's we do a great omelet.
Sure.
Waffles, pancakes, sausage, bacon,
gravy and
biscuits and gravy.
I'm gonna be down there tomorrow morning.
Tell you what, we've got some of the best biscuits in Hernando.
Okay, I'm coming tomorrow morning.
And if you got a sweet tooth, we've got chocolate.
Jim, I'm coming tomorrow morning.
Gravy.
I know. Chocolate gravy,
Chocolate
dude.
gravy goes on those biscuits. Oh, my word.
I'm going to have to try that.
Slap your mama.
Oh, my God. Jesus, man. That sounds so awful for you. Like, it does.
It does.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, biscuit and gravy is bad enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. But, it's funny you say chocolate gravy because I actually put like syrup or honey on top of mine when I do it. So it makes sense. Yeah. Or back in the day, the old sorghum syrup, like I used to put that all over, molasses.
It's crazy. There's regional syrups.
Yes.
Where my wife is from, they use something called Golden Eagle.
Oh, wow.
And it's a corn syrup. And she's like, you need to have a bottle of this. Don't you know what it is? I'm like, nobody in DeSoto County knows what Golden Eagle brand syrup is.
It's like a Karo syrup.
It's like a Karo syrup.
Yeah, it's very thick and it's very corn. It's a corn syrup.
It is.
Is what it is. So, but it is gold. It's a dark corn syrup. Whereas Karo's more, they have a dark, but they also have a light. Yeah. So high fructose corn syrup, folks, is the purest form of syrup you can buy.
Right.
And because it is corn syrup. I mean, this is what they're putting in your gasoline, your foods, all this stuff. So anyway, crazy stuff. But anyway, Junior's is in Hernando. We got Dale's in South Haven.
Right on State Line. Yep.
Yep.
A lot of people call it West South Haven, the West Side.
West Side.
Old South Haven.
It is Old South Haven, but it's actually right off of Interstate 55, up about a mile on your right-hand side if you're going west, and it's been there forever. Look him up. I know he's doing amazing things there. It was good before. Like, you always kind of some good home cooking meals.
Yep.
It's kind of Southern style cuisine, I would say.
I have ladies
mostly.
in my kitchen there that have been there since the place opened.
Oh, my God.
That are cooks there still. It's crazy.
59 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, these ladies are 70, 75 years old cooking food still.
Holy cow, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing what they do.
So they're cooking the cornbread and
everything. The homemade rolls, the cornbread, they're hand rolling the dumplings.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You're going to have me full of things to do this weekend. I'm going to be eating out every night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they on you, though? Like, I mean, am I going to get to...
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Me and Dad are going to be up there every day this weekend.
Of course, come on.
So, but anyway, we remind people that you also have the Lucky Dog at Silo Square.
Right.
Obviously, we talked about its music room, just the overall outdoor type atmosphere.
So, crawfish. It's crawfish season. So every Saturday and Sunday we have live crawfish.
Mud bugs.
Yeah, mud bugs.
That's what I call them. Yeah. The Butcher Block, which is a great butcher. I mean, that's what I'll say. Pork chops, probably great. Couple inches thick.
We've got almost every cut of beef out there.
Sure.
Huge T-bones, huge ribeyes, certified Angus beef.
Yeah.
You can actually go in there and find some of the sausages we raise on our farm.
Right.
Lasopio Family Farms, you'll see ground sausage.
Lasopio Family Farms. That's another one he just mentioned. He's got another venture. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a spicy chorizo that we have there that we package there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the Butcher's Block.
Cool, man. And that's going to be you and John David's place.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people know John David just from being a builder in the community.
Right.
Also, his ties to Memphis Barbecue. Is he still owner in that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That place is superiorly successful. I mean, like everybody tries to go to that place that comes to town. Just great location, good food. I just know him. I don't know the other owner, but I know she's kind of the face of the place mostly, But however, the Butcher Block, Dale's, Lucky Dog, Junior's, and of course, my personal favorite, Mesquite Chop House.
Yeah. I've been there 17 years. We've just recently hired back one of our opening chefs from 17 years ago, Marcus Lockett.
Okay.
Extremely talented.
Yeah.
And again, we're bringing back a lot of the things that made us successful back then. Our brunch that we did 17 years ago, it's the typical buffet line brunch with the omelet station, waffle station, carving station.
Right.
That's back. That's every Sunday from 10:30 to 2.
Okay, good. So you got a lot of new things going on. And obviously the type of meat you serve there is always top notch.
Yeah.
You got prime beef. Yep. Are you serving prime products?
Not so much. It's certified Angus beef is top 2/3 choice.
Okay.
And what that means is you get a lot of the upper end choice in it.
Yeah.
You can get prime in there as well.
Sure.
It's however it's graded.
Sure. So it just comes as that. It's the top two. You know what I mean?
2/3.
So you're going to get pretty much high quality as you can get. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Prime is really a weird word. I mean, it's just hard to get that. You got to be selecting it.
And a lot of people don't
piece.
truly understand prime.
Right.
A ribeye, for example.
Right.
For a ribeye to be prime, that eye of fat or marble fat, really, is huge.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that.
Right.
And so it's hard to do prime sometimes.
Well, I mean, maybe you need to be there to explain it, Jim. Every time they get their steak, they're just like, hey, man, there's a reason why it's marbled this way today. I don't know.
My phone rings a lot already.
I bet it does. Yeah, you probably don't need it. You want to give out your personal cell phone?
Right.
I have it. I'll give it out. No, I'm just joking. I won't do that to you. But it is an amazing product. You got some great desserts there, too, by the way. I don't want to miss out on that. That's one of my favorite things about your restaurant. You guys have some great side things.
Yeah.
One of the best ones you do
is...
Now I'm going to let you tell me.
Dessert? Oh, gosh, the white chocolate creme brulee.
Yes, sir. That's my wife's favorite.
Madagascar vanilla beans. We get fresh Madagascar vanilla beans. Mortar and pestle them down to a powder.
Oh, my gosh.
And then, oh, gosh.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Cheesecake.
Cheesecake is good. That white chocolate creme brulee.
Yeah, my wife loves that.
Has been there 17 years.
Yeah.
As the desserts change, that's a staple.
So I always like to get that and like a big scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, vanilla bean ice cream. Yep. So, yeah, you guys got some real cool things going on there. I haven't probably been back as often. I've been dieting for the last probably last year, Jim.
I can't tell.
Yeah, I know you can't tell. You probably notice when you see me, like different stages, you're like, Neil, what is going on?
You talked about how we met.
Yeah.
And you lost like 100 pounds
it wasn't that much.
Between load 3 of rock and load 7 of rock. It was crazy.
It was not that bad.
It was crazy.
You asked me if I was sick, though. I remember you told me that. So you're like, are you something wrong with you? And I'm like, no. I've just been trying to diet. So I've tried to stay out of those as frequent as I used to go because, I mean, they are not low-calorie meals, for sure.
I don't think a whole lot of anything I sell is
Oh, no. But they're good. Everything's good. So, but anyway, man, I want to thank you for coming in today. Anything else you want to hit on?
No, sir.
Yeah, anything you want to talk about? Focus?
No.
Yeah.
I think we've covered everything.
Okay, cool, man. I appreciate the new partnership with Feed My Lambs. I'm pushing forward.
No, we can do this.
Which I want to tell you, last year, Jim did commit to me donating a certain amount of stuff to it, and we couldn't connect. I was so busy. He was in and out of town. So I said, you know what? I've got enough going on this year. We'll just wait until next year's big event, and then I'll get you on board and get involved. And you said that would be fine. So it was just us not getting on the same page. I was just running. My mom passed. My son was moving. I had a lot going on, and it just didn't work out. Yeah. So, but this year I want to get you on board full force with what we're doing because it's amazing work that all the people that get involved do for us. And I want to shine you guys too, in the process. Awesome. So anybody that wants to know, I know I see this and I didn't even think about it, but I look like I've been in a fight, and I have with my dog. He scratches me every time I come through the door. He's a big poodle. His name is Garth. I want to give him a shout out because he tears Daddy up every day, man. It's just his claws, man. He's a full grown standard poodle. And he just crazy. But he's just hopping and jumping.
Aren't they supposed to be smart animals?
Super smart. But he's just so excited to see me, man. Like he's just trying to Daddy's home. You know what I mean? So as soon as he gets on, I'm like, God, dog it, man. He tears me. And I don't even realize he got me. Yikes. But it's like every day for the last 2 weeks, he's just been getting me. So he's playing That's all I'm telling you. So anyway, man, thanks again for coming in, Jim, as always. And guys, thank you for joining the show, today's show. And look for us again. Check out all of our sponsors, Roofworks, Hamilton Landscaping. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Let us, obviously Facebook's kind of like where most of our episodes are going to be direct to Facebook now. Derek's been doing that recently. So give me a follow on there, a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Any of those YouTube pages, we'd love it. Just continue. If you want to get on the show or you got an idea about a show, reach out to us about your idea at TheLocalYokelsPodcast at gmail.com. And just remember to keep, supporting your community, get involved with charities. Community service is really what I'm talking about, Jim. So, all right, guys, thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.